Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with another episode of Snowflake Viewpoint, episode 64. The date and time is the 22nd of July, 2024, 8 p.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/Reganelite, and on Twitch TV, twitch.tv/Reganelite1. Hello to everyone here who is here in the live chat. The gang behind me is here. Oh, if I can get my chair sorted without shaking everything. And why is the orb not empowered? There we go. Wasn't on for some reason. Bit weird. Thought I had you on. That clearly was not empowered. Not gonna lie, guys, I got a bit of an upset tummy today, so don't be surprised if I need to stop breathing or whatever. Guys, I don't know where it's come from. It's literally come in the last hour, so just giving you guys a heads up warning at the start of this. And there is a live YouTube chat poll asking, it's one of the articles we'll look at today as well, asking should Labour's plans to build mini nuclear reactors around the UK okay? We'll read into that obviously a bit more later on in that story, but so far you guys have all said no, which is perfectly understandable, but feel free to input your feedback on that as well. So let's see who's here tonight. Stephen Banker is here. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Terry Regan is here. Good to see you, Terry. Hope you're doing well. Jow is here. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Mad Monkey is here, but he's going to be lurking in the background, which is totally cool, mate. Thanks for popping by. Much appreciated, as always. Right. So before we dive straight into the stories that I've got for you guys, I wanted to just share this this clip from the Comments today. Sometimes, guys, you know, you really need to remember your history. I think it's really important, you know, that you remember things that you've said in the past, because if you don't, they can come back to bite you, you know. So Bravermen, silly person, she basically said that Labour MPs laugh out loud. Suella Bravermen, after she says that the one thing that struck her in the King's speech was not scrapping the two-child benefit cap. One MP shouted that you voted for it. And I'm going to turn it up quite loud, so see if you can hear the bit where they say that she voted for it. But it is pretty stupid of her.
There was one thing that struck me in the King's speech. It wasn't the long list of policies that will no doubt damage our economy. It wasn't the vague promises that will not survive contact with reality. No, Madam Deputy Speaker. For me, the thing that was conspicuous by its absence was the total failure of the Labour government to deal with child poverty and scrap the two-child benefit cap on welfare. Yes, you heard that right. Madam Deputy Speaker, I am rising.
I don't know if you heard that you voted for in the background, but you cannot blame Labour for what's going on with the state of the UK. It's just ridiculous, guys. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolute silly person. Right, just wanted to share that with you guys. So the first article I got for you guys is from Sky News. The headline that the Scrap Rwanda scheme has already cost £700 million in the most shocking waste of taxpayer money ever seen, the Home Secretary has said. Yvette Cooper tells the MPs that £700 million has not been spent on sending actual migrants who arrive in small boats to Rwanda, but volunteers. I watched the video from Politics Joe on this, and yeah, the way it was being delivered and what she explained was just absolutely abhorrent, guys. I mean, £700 million. And the costs, and I'm sure they'll put this in the article, the costs were going to cost a lot of money, a ridiculous amount of taxpayer money going to this. Why? I mean, it was a dead story from the start. I've said this so many times on my channel. You've heard this on so many other YouTubers. You've heard it from so many journalists, newspapers and whatnot. This Rwanda scheme was never going to work. Suzanne, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Joe Lefty as well there. Good to see you both. Hope you're doing well. This deal was never going to work. That's £700 million already has been wasted. Wasted, guys. Like I said, I've got a bit of an upset tummy, so if I stop a lot for drinks, just bear with me, guys. But yeah, let's read into what Yvette Cooper had to say, guys. This is insane. So the previous government was set to spend £10 billion on the now scrap Rwanda scheme, the Home Secretary has revealed. So, you know, we talk about £37 billion. £37 billion is obviously the big number everyone looks back on as one of the biggest wastes of taxpayer money in history by the government. But £10 billion here. Absolutely insane. Giving a statement in the Comments, Yvette Cooper said £700 million of the taxpayer money had already been spent on the scheme, with the Conservatives brought in to act as a deterrent to those travelling in small boats across the country, across the channel. Sorry. And we said it then, we said it before, and we said it then, that this was never going to stop people crossing on the boats. It was just not going to work. It was just not going to at all. Ms Cooper branded the scheme which would have sent people arriving in small boats to the African country for processing, the most shocking waste of taxpayer money I have ever seen. I still think £37 billion on a fudged up test and trace system was the most wasted taxpayer money, but it's certainly up there as one of the most shocking wastes of taxpayer money. And there are going to be, like I've said, guys, you know, before Labour took over, there's going to be more skeletons in the closet. The more time goes on, the more they uncover, the more amount of taxpayer money has been wasted by this government, by the previous Conservative government. The Labour Home Secretary said the £700 million spent so far had not been spent on sending actual migrants who arrive in small boats to Rwanda, but volunteers. She said 2 years after the British government launched it, I can report that it cost the British taxpayer £700 million in order to send just 4 volunteers. Those costs include £290 million in payments to Rwanda, chartering flights that never took off, detaining hundreds of people and then releasing them, and then paying for more than 1,000 civil servants to work on the scheme. A scheme to send 4 people is the most shocking waste of taxpayer money I ever seen. Why would you vote for this policy? Why would you vote for this policy? It couldn't be more blatant. The Tories have already got money to waste and nothing for humanity. Exactly. I thought there was no magic money tree, says Terry Regan. Oh no, there is a magic money tree. It's only there for the benefits of politicians, not for the benefits of people. The magic money tree is only available for the benefits of the needs of the few, not the many. She added, looking forward, the costs are set to get worse. Over the 6 years of the Migration and Economic Development Partnership forecast, the previous government had planned to spend over £10 billion of taxpayer money on the scheme. They did not tell Parliament that. I love the way she put that in the video, from the video. As Terry Regan says, yeah, Politics Joe did a video on it. The way she put that was so damning. And yeah, it's just incredibly embarrassing for a Conservative listening to that. Almost as soon as they assumed office, Labour scrapped the Rwanda scheme, which had repeatedly described as an expensive gimmick. The government previously announced it would divert tens of billions of pounds from the scheme to set up a new border security command to tackle the people smuggling gangs that engineered the channel crossing. Ms Cooper announced an audit of the funds sent to Rwanda as the Labour administration looks to find ways to save or recoup cash committed under the Conservatives. Before the general election, Sir Keir Starmer said his party wanted to send around £75 million a year to get their new border scheme from the scrapped deportation programme. The Prime Minister has described the Conservatives' era plans to send asylum seekers to Africa as dead and buried. Responding to Ms Cooper in the Commens, the former Home Secretary James Cleverly claimed Labour had already worsened the issue of the small boats crossings in their 2.5 weeks in government. Do you realise how stupid that sounds? James, do you have any idea how stupid that sounds? God, you are such a wally with that comment. The Shadow Home Secretary told MPs, the reality is everybody knows, including the people smugglers, that the small boats problem is going to get worse. Indeed, it's already gotten worse under Labour because they have no deterrent. My God. It's just trying to blame Labour. They've only been in, again, 2.5 weeks. And already, it's Labour's fault. It's Labour's fault. Like, we did everything right. We didn't leave everything in a mess. Oh, God. Mr Cleverly also criticised the government for scrapping the scheme, saying, the fact there is now no safe third country to return people who cannot be returned home means that we ask, where is she going to send people who come here from countries like Afghanistan, Iraq or Syria? Oh, my God. Good morning, Stephen Morn. I hope you're doing well. I mean, yes, that is a very good question, and one that she will need to obviously engage and deal with over time. But this was a wasted... so Larry the Cat, good to see you there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. This was a wasted policy. We all know it was a wasted policy. It's just ridiculous. Has she started negotiations on return agreements with the Taliban or maybe the acolytes of Iran or Assad in Syria? Have you taken ownership and responsibility for your failings as Home Secretary, James? Have you thought about that? Have you? No, of course you haven't. And if she's not going to send those arriving on here on small boats to Rwanda, which local authorities will she be sending people to? We will be closing hotels. We were closing hotels when I was in government, and I wonder which local authorities will be receiving those asylum seekers. If not Rwanda, will it be Rochdale, Romford, or Richmond? Dude, we're wasting taxpayer money in hotels and barges and whatnot. Do you know what the best solution would have been? Is actually investing in clearing the actual backlogs, clearing the procedures, clearing the actual asylum seekers and processing them. Processing them, James. Did you know if you actually process some of the asylum seekers, there's actually a good claim that perhaps many of them would be rejected and then sent back to their countries of origin. Yes, not every single one of them are from Afghanistan, Iraq, or Syria. Some of them are from safe countries that you can send them back to as well, James. Did you know that? Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I know you didn't know that because you're not qualified, to be Home Secretary. Meanwhile, Miss Cooper also joked with Miss Cleverly about previous reports that he had called the Rwanda plan, backshit in private. I'm sorry, 4 volunteers being sent to Rwanda isn't a deterrent for anyone or anything at all, but the idea that he would spend £10 billion on this fantasy, this fiction, this gimmick, rather than ever do the hard graft, she said. Referring to the possible Tory leadership bid when Rishi Sunak stands down, she added, I don't think he believes any of the stuff that he said. He's only saying this for his Tory leadership contest, yeah. He is just too weak to tell his party the truth. He thought the whole policy on Rwanda was batshit and then he went out to bat for it. It's just not serious. No, absolutely. It was just absolutely endearing. What was this nutter thinking? Why did he go along with it? He knew. Rishi Sunak knew and he still went with it. Why did he go with it, guys? Why did he go with it? What on earth was Sunak thinking? He knew it was a dead duck. And he still went with the policy. It was absolutely ridiculous, guys. Just absolutely ridiculous. This is just a stupid idea. Stupid idea from stupid people is what it was, guys. Invest that money separating the waters of who can say who has to be deported, says Jal. How about processing? It in France, says Larry the Cat as well. Yeah, we've said about setting up a processing centre in France as well to help clear that as well. That's one of the ways. But Prime Minister Keir Starmer's also talked about working with European allies to try and deter them from the origins of the countries, as opposed to just throwing money at the problem, which I think is a much better idea as well. Well, he is throwing some money at it as well, but I do think it's something that's worth talking about as well. So the next one I got for you guys is one that was another one from The Guardian that dropped on Sunday, and I don't like this, but at the same time, it's like, what are you supposed to do? So Gordon Brown launches London's first multi-bank amid UK child poverty fears. The ex-Prime Minister is opening a new facility supplying food and basic necessities against a backdrop of concerns for the well-being of children over the summer holidays. The first multi-bank in London, distributing everything from basic foods to baby products to toiletries, will be officially launched this week amid continuing concerns about the levels of poverty as the school summer holidays begin. The opening of Felix Multibank, which has the backing of the former Prime Minister Gordon Brown and the London Mayor Sadiq Khan, is the latest in growing networks of multi-banks. Brown says the new project was opening at a time when the country's approach to the problem of destitution would change. There have been continuous calls within Labour for Keir Starmer to take stronger action on child poverty. Mr. Brown said the London Phoenix Multibank is the fourth of 6 that will be opened by the end of this year across Britain. It is opening at a time of transition from a Britain where child poverty has risen dramatically to one where it wishes to see child poverty falling. I hate this. But at the same time, it's like we need this as well to keep people going. Because like I've said, guys, it's gonna if Labour are going to change things, if Labour are going to tackle child poverty, destitute poverty, they need to deal with this. But people, as I've said many times, guys, we have to give Labour an opportunity to do so. We we can't expect Labour to fix child poverty straight off the bat, with the exception of the 2-child benefit cap, which we all want removed. Apart from that, which would help make a massive difference, we can't expect Labour to flick a light switch and expect everything to get fixed. So unfortunately, this is one of the ways that it's going to help them. It really pains me seeing this. It really, really does. I say I hate food banks and I hate multi-banks, and I don't mean this in a negative way, as in, and you guys know this. I don't mean this in a negative way of I hate that they exist. I hate the fact that we have to rely on them for people to survive. That's what I hate. I hate that people have to use them. I hate that people are giving up their volunteering time to be a part of food banks when they could use that volunteering time for elsewhere. I hate the fact that people can't actually go to the shops and buy the necessity needs that they can have, because because of the way the government functions, won't give them enough money. There's so many flaws right now with our system. So many flaws, and I just hope they get on top of this as quickly as possible, you guys. I really, really hope so. As a new anti-poverty plan is being prepared, the multibank still needs to secure more supplies and more funds from generous donors, so that working with food banks we can provide poverty relief. While the concept was pioneered in Fife, Scotland, there are thousands of multibanks operating in Greater Manchester and Swansea. Thousands of families are set to be helped by the new scheme in West London, overseen by the Felix project, which sources surplus from the food industry that would otherwise go to waste. So, God, my stomach's really playing up, guys. Supplies donated by businesses, with the Amazon the biggest contributor, will be distributed directly to teachers, social workers and other groups working directly with those struggling to afford basic necessities. Some public funding has been supplied for London's site's running costs, while Amazon is also helping to run the logistics of the operation. New research this month revealed the scale of concern among teaching staff about the health of children this summer, when those in need will not have access to free school meals and other help provided in term time. More than 2/3 of teachers in England have recently said they were worried that at least one child in their class will experience hunger during the summer holidays because their parents or carers cannot afford to feed them, according to a survey by the Teacher Tap Group. In London, a survey of 1,118 teachers also found that 68% of teachers believe at least one child in their class will experience hunger because parents and carers cannot afford to feed them during the holidays. Nearly half are worried about between 1 and 3 pupils. Advocates of the multi-bank module said it can be a powerful addiction to fighting local poverty and distributing stock that cannot be sold or taking donations from the corporate world. However, there continues to be concern among charities about the degree in which food banks and related projects have now become a permanent fixture in relieving hardship as a result of cuts to the welfare state. This is where the problem is. The problem is the welfare state. The welfare state needs to be tackled and attacked head on, guys. I'm really sorry, guys. My stomach is really playing up at the moment. Yeah, the welfare state is one of the main issues. We have too strict of a welfare state, but the problem is that the other problem is that people have already got the minds have got this mindset in them that they have this mindset in them that people who rely on welfare and food banks, they think they're all the same. They think they're all just trying to live off the government, live off the state, and don't actually want to work or contribute to society, which is really infuriating to say the least. Ajal says, to me, the fact that they have to exist, they also exist in Europe, even if not that level. It's a shame that shame on all of us that has a society. I'm perfectly comfortable with my taxes being spent to feed kids, even if their parents are parasites. I don't want them to work. Want them to work. The kids have no blame. No, the kids don't have any blame. Yeah. Hi, Andrew Luke. Good to see you. Yeah, it's just utterly shameful, guys. Khan said it was appalling that so many families are going without essentials, having to turn to others for help due to the cost of living crisis. He added, that's why I pledge to support the introduction of multi-banks in the capital as part of my work to help Londoners who are struggling to make ends meet. Multi-banks do incredible work with charities and community organisations to get supplies to those who need them the most. I'm proud to be supporting the Felix project to bring this multi-bank to London as we build a fairer London for everyone. John Bomhomery, country manager for Amazon Business across the UK and Ireland, said, "I'm delighted that we're working with the Felix project to launch a Felix multibank in London this week, the fourth multibank we've opened across the UK since we first launched in Scotland 2 years ago. We will work hand in hand with the local charities, community groups and other businesses to provide donations and support. We know we can make a huge difference for families in need." Yeah, like I said, it's I hate it, guys, but I also understand why we also have it as well. It's really frustrating to say the least, you guys. Guys, I'm gonna speed things up a little bit because I'm really not feeling good. My stomach is really playing up, so I will come to you guys in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button, share it across social media, and subscribe if you can. It really does help support the channel. Next one is also from The Guardian, guys. This is quite a really annoying story here. So, officer from Italy is forced to quit the UK police due to the post-Brexit barriers. Danny said his £26,000 salary is not high enough to sponsor his wife's, so that he can join him she can join him in Britain. These are the policies that obviously the previous Conservative government implemented. There's a lot of undoing that the new Labour government have got to do, and this is one of them. This threshold that the Conservatives imposed is ridiculous. It's outrageous. It's lunatic. How are we supposed to attract people to the UK when people can't even bring their partners? It's just insane, guys. It really is. So a police officer working in Manchester said he has been forced to quit his job after Rishi Sunak raised the salary threshold to sponsor his Italian wife to live in the UK in the post-Brexit immigration scheme. Campaigners are warned that his tale of Brexit anguish is being repeated up and down the country in low-paid public sector workers where many EU citizens work. Italian Danny, who asked for his full name not to be used, has been in the country since 2017 and has full settled status under the post-Brexit resident scheme for EU citizens. He was 1 year into a 2-year probation period training to be a detective, but earns only £26,000, £3,000 short of the £29,000 needed to act as a sponsor to bring a foreign family member into the country. It was stressful because it took me ages to get into this job. I was doing very well in the area. I enjoyed it. I didn't want to leave this job, so now I have to start again. And I don't know what else I will do when I go back to my wife to Italy. Or do we have to go somewhere else? He completed a PhD in clinical sports in Glasgow and entered the force on a 2-year guarantee programme, which according to the Met Police figures can cost more than £100,000 in total, including the salary of trainers and trainees. Danny met his wife in 2022, but like many EU citizens in the country, just got on with his life in Britain, concentrating on the year-long process of vetting and exams to gain entry to the Greater Manchester Police Detective Programme, which he did in May 2023. And when he joined the police force, the salary threshold to bring in a family member was £18,600, but the family sponsorship threshold was raised to £29,000 in the spring as part of Rishi Sunak's phasing doubling of the sponsorship salary threshold of £38,700. Those who do not reach the £27,000 fee must also pay an application fee of £1,846 and pay for the healthcare surcharge of £3,105 for a visa of 2 years and 9 months, and then reapply again before that visa expires. I mean, the hoops that people have to go through. It's just insane. Like, what the hell, man? Like, come on. This is just scamming. This is scamming EU citizens. This is pure scamming. He said his wife, who has a 7-year-old through a previous relationship, could easily find a job in the UK as she is a hospitality manager. But he has been told by lawyers that he has little chance of success, and the £10,000 and £12,000 it would cost to apply could be wasted. My wife could have stayed for a while, but she couldn't work, and it would have been hard for me to support my family of 3 if I had left the UK. That means I had to leave my job, and I didn't want to do that. But at the end, it was the only option left for us. You know, we wanted to create a stable family unit, and we can't do that in a long-distance relationship, he said. And we said this was going to happen the moment Rishi Sunak implemented this. This was going to break up this was going to damage relationships, and it was going to just force people to leave the UK. And that's exactly what's happened here. What you have here is somebody who wanted to be a police officer, who paid and trained and went through everything to be a police officer. He wanted to join the police join the police and contribute to our society. His wife wanted to work in the UK as well. But instead, we've shunned them simply because because her partner's Italian. That's exactly what we've done. Absolute pure fucking racism. Desperate for an intervention by someone who can help or political change, he added, my only hope is I think the immigration laws will change. Andrea Dolomentri, the communications manager for the 3 Million campaign group, said, we all want to be able to care for our families, but many are denied the right to family life just because we dare to fall in love with someone born abroad. Exactly. Exactly. They want to stop us. Like, people should be allowed, like, this is the thing, like, oh, like, this is the thing, like, this is how it perceives to me. If you, from a conservative government's point of view, guys. Oh, you want to marry a French person? Oh, you want to have a relationship with someone from Sweden? Oh, you want to get to know somebody in Croatia? Oh no, we're gonna make your life very difficult for you if that's what you really want. Yeah, we want you populating the British public with your fellow Brits, not with any other people. No, it has to be with British people. Yeah, it has to be with British people. Yeah. Oh, if you want to have a relationship with them, yeah, you can do that. But unless they're making a stack load of money for us, we're not going to let them in. Oh, we have to kick you out the country as well, though. You have to go somewhere else to make a life for yourself with that person if you really love them. Or you can choose to be a patriot and sovereignty and stay with the UK. This is exactly the perception I have in my mind when I think about this policy. EU citizens were promised our rights won't change after Brexit. That promise has been broken. The minimum income requirement is separating our families. The reality is that most people don't earn $38,700, so love is now a privilege for the few. Greater Manchester Police said it was for the Home Office to comment. The Home Office, which usually declines to comment on individual cases in response to queries on Brexit-related resident email, opted instead to reiterate the UK's support for EU citizens, said the future of the sponsorship threshold was up to the new government. The new Home Secretary will decide on the future of the current Home Office policy in due course, it said. It added that each application for the family reunion was considered on its merits. Yeah, the Home Office can't say anything, guys. Like, they've just literally got him, and they can't make fundamental, massive changes straight away. So, again, you can't throw this on at the moment. You cannot throw anything on the current Home Office, the current Labour government at the moment. You've got to give them, like I said, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Now, I'm going to be saying it for a while. You've got to give them a chance, guys. You've got to give them a chance to do things. It's really annoying to say the least. Just have a quick look at what you guys are saying in the chat. My stomach is really playing up today. Wish I had money to leave the UK, says Terry Regan. You don't need money to leave the UK. You just take a one charter flight and off you go, mate. Stephen, what's this? But I have to stay in Portugal as it's been like that for decades, centuries, people. My grandfather Marva was born in East Prussia, married here, great papa and half German Portuguese, and here they stayed. I know a girl from Venezuela, still with her nationality, raised here, married for Portuguese, and with a permanent visa. If she gets a divorce, she has to renew it. People have lives, says Jal. Exactly. It's inhumane. The Tories were trying to show how evil and bad they can be. And yet again, if Scotland were independent, people wouldn't be rejected for petty reasons, says Stephen Banker. Absolutely. The UK must be something else here. Here, if you marry a foreigner here and she comes to live with you, such a weird law, says Jal. Yeah, it's so weird. It is a very weird law. Guys, we're going to take a little break because I need to catch my breath for a bit, guys. I hope you guys enjoy this funny video I've got for you guys. It's from Broken News. It's a bit of an old one, but I hope you guys enjoy it, to say the least. It's called Two Celebrities to Start a Podcast.
Welcome to Broken News. Some news just coming into us, and 2 male celebrities have decided to start a new podcast. The innovative and unexpected move comes after both men realised there was lots of money to be made for very little effort. Our reporter has more.
Thank you. Yes, as you know, the public has been crying out for more audio recordings where a male celebrity talks to another male celebrity, sometimes for 4 shitting hours. In a new podcast called Just Some Famous Guys Doing Some Banter About Being Dads or Something, this pair say they've taken inspiration from the 4 million British men who've also started a podcast chatting unscripted shit with a mate who's slightly off mic. The pair also said they were looking forward to sucking up that sweet ad revenue dollar from people who are actually making good stuff but don't have a massive marketing budget. There has been some criticism, as some experts have claimed that podcasts should be more than just two mates dicking around while the management company pays for them to hoover up industry awards. But despite some pushback against the podcast format, supporters say it gives the opportunity for wildly different and diverse political thought, such as the centrist Ed Balls speaking to the centrist George Osborne, or the centrist Rory Stewart speaking to the centrist Alistair Campbell. And you can hear more about that in our new podcast, The Rest is Podcasts, which is out now. Back to you.
Thank you. That's all from Broken News, isn't it?
Is it? She wasn't, but there we go.
You're up to date now.
Your mum's up to date.
This podcast was brought to you by Squarespace.
No great site, to be fair.
Yeah, your mum's a great website.
Oh dear. I should start a podcast, shouldn't I, guys? I should start a podcast. Well, to be fair, I mean, the Speak of My Mind is technically a bit of a podcast, but yeah, I should start a podcast of some sort. Oh, excuse me, guys. I do apologise. My stomach has been playing up pretty much since after dinner, and I can't seem to shake it off, guys. So, guys, make sure, so just a reminder, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video, and subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you can financially support me in any way, shape or form, please do so. It would be greatly appreciated. Super chats, gifted memberships, any of that kind of stuff would be really, really helpful. Buy me a coffee or joining my Patreon. Links for all of them are in the description. I don't monetize my live stream, so I make no money off these guys, just so you know. So any is greatly appreciated. I'm sorry, guys. Just have a quick look in the chat. I've been there. I've had a partner who lives in Scotland. Scotland is a foreign exchange student. 3 years we were together, but same-sex relationship, weren't allowed to marry them. It broke me in many ways, as Stephen Banker. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. No patience for celebrity podcasts. I prefer to listen to rambles of some internet anonymous, says Jao. Yeah, I wonder what internet anonymous you possibly listen to. Who would be mad enough to listen to some random internet anonymous guy on YouTube, you know? Yeah, absolutely terrible to hear. Where's my Squarespace money, says Andrew Luke. Well, it's I can give you the bank account and sort code, and you can send me the money there for the Squarespace money if you really want. Does 30p Lee have his podcast sponsors by Squareheads? So Larry the Cat probably does. Guys, I'm going to be ending the live YouTube chat poll at the end of the next story, because it's related to it. Asking, should Labour's plans to build mini nuclear reactors around the UK, are they considered okay? So cast your votes on what you think about that, guys. It'd be greatly appreciated. Let's have a gander on this story then. So what is this all about? So it's an exclusive from iNews, you guys. Inside Labour's plans to build a mini nuclear reactor around the UK. Potential sites for the small modular reactors inside Cumbria, Lancashire, Hartlepool, Gloucestershire and North Wales. God, that picture makes them look like they're all happy days, aren't they? So Labour's commitment to nuclear energy will include a fleet of new mini reactors that will mainly be built and sited in the north of England, the Eye understands. So the government will set out initial priorities for Great British Energy, the new public company that will invest in clean power before Parliament breaks up for the summer on July the 30th. Ministers include Energy Secretary Ed Miliband, seeing nuclear power as playing as a key role in its strategy. Why do we have to stick to nuclear energy? Why can't we just look at seriously building more wind and solar farms? Why do we have to turn to nuclear, in all seriousness? Why can't we just build like 100 windmills off the coast somewhere and just build them? Just build the goddamn wind farms out to sea. Like, there's power there. Like, just turn the, we don't even need to build solar panels on rural lands and that. Just need to get, just literally turn every single airport car park, give them all roofs, and make a law that any car parks now that have open roofs now have to have solar panels attached to them, and that money goes back, and that the power and energy generated from them from car parks goes back to the energy grid, and the private companies get a small percentage of profit from it or something. Make a law like that, like something like that. Like, we don't need nuclear energy. We don't need it, guys. We really don't need this. We can make the energy. We are on a freaking island. The island is energy all around us. We don't need nuclear energy. It's not worth the risk. It really is not. We don't need nuclear energy, guys. We really, really do not. GB Energy will be headquartered in Scotland. I've had this so many times. They said that. They always want to keep rubbing it in. We're invested in Scotland, guys. We're invested in Scotland. And have £8.3 billion in capital to invest. And the Eye understands that among its first commitments will be a pledge to order a cluster of nuclear plants called small modular reactors, SMRs. These mini reactors, which can be rebuilt in factories before being shipped to site, use the same technology as larger plants but on a smaller scale. Rolls-Royce, one of 6 companies vying for the first order of SMRs, is currently manufacturing and testing prototypes at the University of Sheffield Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre. Potential sites for the first SMR including Moorsite at Stellarfield in Cumbria, Wi-Fi in Anglesey in North Wales, and Oldenbury in Gloucestershire. Sites in Hartlepool, County Durham, and Helsham, Lancashire are also being considered. However, Alistair Evans, Director of Corporate and Government Affairs at Rolls-Royce, says he received phone calls from communities across the country wanting a piece of the action. Really? Did they really want that? I suppose, yeah, there's a lot of areas where they don't have enough jobs, but still. Pretty much all of our sites are in the northeast and northwest. They are the ones that would host SMRs. And when you come to the factories, we're looking at sites in South Yorkshire, Teesside, Sunderland, and we're looking at those communities because they've got high value experience and manufacturing high heritage, Mr. Evans told the Eye. It's also where the supply chain is. We're talking to lots of oil and gas companies who are phasing down their supply chain. How can they help us with their decades and decades of experience? It is a significant opportunity for the North. Great British Nuclear, an arm's length body set up by the previous government, is running a competition for the first design of SMRs, and Rolls-Royce submitted its plans last week. The module uses the blueprint for the nuclear system that has been powered Royal Navy submarines for more than 60 years, and Mr. Evans said he was pretty hopeful of its success, especially under the new Labour government. Asked about the timeline last week, Mr. Miliband told Sheffield MP Clive Bates, "Our manifesto made it clear that we're supporting new nuclear, including at Sizewell, which will also support the SMRs programme. Part of our challenge is to examine the legacy left to us by the last government, but he, Mr. Bates, should be no doubt that my absolute support for the SMR programme, it is important. We will try to strive at the timetable to set out. While renewable energy such as wind, solar and tidal will have their place in meeting the UK's future demand, the nuclear sector appears to have won the argument that the 24/7 power it provides in the mix in order to reduce carbon emissions to net zero by 2050. There's a thing called battery power. There's you can actually we can reserve some of this power in places. We can build battery storage units, to hold some of the power. We don't need nuclear energy. And yes, we don't always have wind and solar all the time. That's true. That's why, you store the energy. It's not that hard to figure out. In fact, there's some countries that already do that. Again, why? SMRs are often described as mini reactors because their most notable characteristic is their size and simplicity in comparison to traditional plants. We are 800 Lego bricks. They come together in a field. They take up about 2 football pitches, Mr. Evans said. 2 football pitches? That's still a lot of space. To build one, you'll have 2 or 3 trucks arriving a day. A crane lifts its modular Lego bricks, puts it on top of another until you've got about 800 in its field. Then you put a shell over the top of it. Rolls-Royce SMR will have the capacity to generate 470 megawatts of low-carbon energy, the equivalent of more than 150 offshore wind turbines. I would rather take the 150 onshore wind turbines than your silly little SMR plan, especially when there is always a risk of it melting down. There will always be that risk, always. Proponents argue that these mini reactors are cheaper, easier to manage, and safer than a much larger size, such as Sizewell in Suffolk or Hicking Point in Somerset. In theory, once the first SMR proves to be a success, they can be prefabricated at scale. Driving costs down, future governments will then have the flexibility to have them dotted all over the country in their hundreds or even thousands in order to meet the energy needs. Rolls-Royce said it hoped to build the first SMRs for around $2 billion, and then subsequently reactors could cost as little as $1 billion. By comparison, the final cost of the Hickory Point could be as much as $46 billion. Yeah, I understand Mr. Miliband is set to order 2 sets of 3 SMRs, although they will not be operational until 2030 at their earliest. So this is apparently a graph of what it could be. So the Rolls-Royce SMR would have the capacity to generate 470 megawatts of low-carbon energy, the equivalent of more 150 onshore wind. So this apparently here, this is on the left here is supposed to be what it is. That creates it. Turbine I'm no scientist, but apparently this is what it's supposed to be. The Lemon says molten aluminium stores in thermos is the newest energy storage tech. Thanks for that, Lemon. Good to see you here. I hope you're doing well. Obviously we want to reduce emissions. Absolutely, guys. We all want emissions reduced. Yeah, we're definitely all in favor of that. We want less reliance on oil and gas. Absolutely. But is this the right direction to go? And my honest answer is no. I just feel like the government is kind of just using nuclear energy as a means to avoid going down the much more safer, greener energy schemes such as wind and solar. That's how I feel. I feel like they're doing this to take the cheap way out. Rolls-Royce has a moratorium of understanding in places with Estonia, Turkey, and the Czech Republic. Russia's invasion of Ukraine was a real turning point in how nuclear was seen for the positive, says Mr. Evans. Spent a lot of time talking to overseas governments who are all looking to do SMRs. The energy security argument is really strong at the minute. I've definitely seen a shift and a change. Challenges remain, however. Nuclear plants have often gone way over budget and faced years of delays, while critics remain unconvinced the concerns over safety and disposal of nuclear materials have been overcome. Yeah, and this is my concern. It's obviously always the nuclear materials behind it. It's always been one of the biggest gripes I have here. Nuclear does not have a right to be in the mix. It has to justify in its conclusion, Mr. Evans admitted. It has to start being delivered on time and on budget. If Rolls-Royce SMR or any other business suggests costs are not competitive in the long term, then it's not the right technology. We're confident with our costs, we're confident with our timeline, and we're generally being realistic on our timeline. We talk about our first reactor being 5 years. Some of our competitors will say 2 years, which we don't think is realistic or credible. As an industry, we've got to stop over-promising and under-delivering. Planning restrictions are currently hurdled. Currently, nuclear power plants can only be built on 8 named sites. The previous Tory government was considering whether to loosen the rules so that more sites could be identified. Labour said they want to make radical changes to the UK's planning regime as part of its pledge to build 1.5 million homes over the current Parliament, but the reforms could go even further. The Labour Party's politics talking about fast-tracking planning or making the planning process easier is music to my ears. Is very welcome, Mr. Evans added. They definitely got some hope and optimism. They're working with the Tories to try and get a deal, agreement or certainty, and it was just slow. We're pretty hopeful that Miliband and his crew will consider support across the northern mayors, meaning we can get this moving. We've got 750 people working on this day in and day out, and we just want to get on with it. Quite frankly, we've got a design, we've got a regulatory approval moving along. What we need next is an order or a commitment from our government or utility. GB Nuclear says that they intend to make decisions by the end of the year. We want them to stick to that, and that's what we're pinning our hopes and expectations on. With Labour set to give the green light to SMRs, towns and cities, particularly in the north of England, they are now vying for a piece of what is set to be a luxurious pie. This is not a pie I approve of. The new part, the report shared exclusively with the eye by the lobby group for the Northern Powerhouse Partnership, the NPP, claims that every £1 in public investment in the net zero transition will be worth £2.65 on the private sector and create an extra 168,000 jobs. NPP argues that the north of England, which produces nearly half of the UK's electricity and is home to half the country's most carbon-intense clusters, is uniquely vulnerable to botched transitions to net zero. The Humper alone represents 40% of the UK's industrial emissions. Research carried out by the Cambridge Economic-meters suggesting 80% of the plans for industrial decarbonisation could come from private investment versus 20% from the public sector. NPPs is recommending Labour's committed to ordering SMRs as well, developing offshore wind and tidal supply chains, pushing ahead with carbon capture and use and storage on the Mersey, Tees and Humber, and retrofitting domestic and commercial buildings with locally sourced heat pumps. I mean, yes, I'm glad they're obviously committing to offshore wind and tidal supply chains, but I just wish they weren't committed to these SMRs. But I get the arguments for it. I get the arguments for it, but I just don't think we need them, if I'm honest. Billions in private investment are ready to flood into the North's net zero economy, said Henry Musson, Chief Executive of the Northern Powerhouse Partnership. The north of England will bear the brunt of the UK's last rapid de-industrialisation, I can't say that word, sorry, which took place without a plan to protect workers, which is why we need to stop artificially reducing emissions by moving our heavy industry overseas. With the right plan delivered well, we could use the net zero transition to drive our region's economy and close the north-south divide for good. South Yorkshire Mayor Oliver Copland is taking full advantage of the head start that he has in Sheffield, and today announced the launch of SY Energy, a partnership between the private sector and academics in a bid to capitalise on the growth of the clean energy sector in this region. He says, we're leading the way on small modular reactors, with Rolls-Royce SMR recently selecting South Yorkshire as a home for their new multi-million-pound SMR facility, Ms. Copland told the Eye. SY Energy will build on these strengths and make our regions the natural home of clean tech business, both nationally and internationally. A spokesperson for the Energy Department of Energy Security Net Zero said, Great British Energy will help make Britain a clean energy superpower, accelerating our journey to net zero through home-grown cheap energy that will boost our energy independence and tackle the climate crisis. This will include working closely with Great British Energy to strengthen Britain's nuclear industry. Great British Energy will be owned by the British people for the British people, creating jobs and building supply chains across the UK and working with industries and trade unions to deliver clean power. Well, so they say, guys. I'm really sorry, guys. My stomach is absolutely playing up so bad. Really playing up so bad, guys. Yeah, I can see the cases for it, guys. I can really see the cases for it. But I'm just not convinced about these mini nuclear reactors, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm personally not. I just want to say thanks for those who casted their votes on that live YouTube chat poll asking about the mini nuclear reactors. 84% of you say no, 7% of you say yes, 7% are not sure on it. Let's have a read what some of you guys are saying in the comments about it. Lemon says refrigerator components wired in reverse convert thermal power into electricity. Rather cool. I don't know the cost, but not many videos on it, he says. Thanks for that, Lemon. Appreciate that. Sigmund Moore says the government here spent a fortune to subsidise the full installation of every home. It's very easy to subsidise solar installation. That now all your homes are insulated. Yeah, you now reduce your cost. You reduce the cost in doing so. So the costs have been reduced. Madbunk33 says graphene battery technology is something that should be taken forward as a higher capacity and faster cleaning charge if it doesn't go on fire when damaged. Interesting. Thanks for that. Nuclear has never been a quick fix. Look at how long it takes to build our existing nuclear power reactors online. They are a money pit, says Larry the Cat. Yeah. Misheard as Labour are doing an SMR. Well, they are working. They look like they're going to be working in cooperation with it. To be fair. There is a company in Scotland offering free or cheap solar panels, says Stephen Banker there. That's a good sign. How long will it take to bring these online? They are not telling anyone or also where they're going to dump the crap with these things produced. 5 years is over optimistic, and who's funding these? Well, private investment, obviously, it sounds like the government may be putting their hands in their pockets on this as well. Every new built solar, says same here in Scotland. Jow, every help building new solar. All new homes or refurbished old houses and public buildings prepared for solar. Nuclear is a quick fix in some people's minds, but the cost and risk do not compensate in the long term, says Jow there as well. Yeah, it does. Are we winning today? Depends. What football game is on that I don't know about. QA Library. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Me nuclear access on all the peer review showed you do not reduce costs, and you could be looking at more contained cleanup. Thank you. I appreciate that, QA. Yeah, this is the thing. There's always. This is why we should be pushing more for wind and solar. We should be looking at more cleaner energy. It just feels like to me that they're looking at this because it's a cheap way of doing so, and there's private companies that are willing to invest in doing so as well. You know, they're doing this to sweeten certain businesses as well. It will create jobs, but it'll create jobs in these areas. Don't get me wrong; it's going to create jobs here in these areas for some of the places where they're going to set them up. But is it really a safe, secure energy? And my answer is no. I don't think it is. I don't personally think it is anyway. But we'll move on from that, guys. The next one I've got for you guys, moving a bit away from politics, but this is really infuriating. But we know this has been happening for quite a long time, guys. So this is from the Financial Times. The BT have been fined £17.5 million for catastrophic 999 call failures. The UK telecom group fell woefully short of its responsibilities in instances last year, says Ofcom. So how bad did they do, guys? The UK communications regulator has fined BT £17.5 million. Excuse me, for being ill-prepared to respond to a catastrophic failure of its emergency call handling service last year. Ofcom announced the penalty on Monday after BT experienced a network fault that affected its inability to connect calls to emergency services between 6:24 a.m. and 4:56 p.m. on June the 25th last year, during which almost 14,000 call attempts were unsuccessful. That could have resulted in some deaths there. That could have resulted in some terrible deaths. Thanks for popping by, Terry. Take care. That could have resulted in some deaths. BT, which connects 999 and 111 calls in the UK, provide relay services for deaf and speech impaired people, have received the largest fine Ofcom has given following a 999 incident. Suzanne Cater, the watchdog director for enforcement, said the FTSE Company's 100 fell woefully short of its responsibilities. Good thing I just took stock and shares out a while back out of them. She added, being able to contact the emergency services can mean the difference between life and death, so in the event of any disruption to their network, providers must be ready to respond quickly and efficiently. Ofcom said there were no confirmed reports by the emergency resource of serious harm to the members of the public as a result of the incident. Oh! Well, that's a relief. BT said the level of disruption to the service last year had never been seen before, and we are sincerely sorry for the distress caused. That is a relief. The UK Telecom Group accepted the points raised in Ofcom's findings and said they had put in place comprehensive measures to prevent these series of events reoccurring and improve end-to-end resilience of the system as a whole. BT added that while no technology is 100% resilient, we have to build higher robust networks with multiple layers of protection to connect the public to blue light services at the time of need. The watchdog found that BT did not have sufficient warning systems in place for when this kind of incident occurred, nor adequate proceedings for promptly assessing the severity and impact and likely cause of such incident, or for identifying mitigating actions. Ofcom also found that BT disaster recovery platform had insufficiently capacity or function to deal with the level of demand that might reasonably be expected. The incident also occurred disruption to text relay calls, the regulator reported, which means people with hearing and speech difficulties were unable to make any calls. It said it left deaf and speech impaired users at increased risk of harm. BT notified Ofcom and the regulator opened an investigation on June the 28th last year. The watchdog added BT had fully cooperated and taken steps to remake these issues. Ofcom in 2017 fined KCOM, the local operator in Hull, £900,000 after a network failure left customers unable to contact emergency services for 4 hours. Free were also previously fined £1.9 million in 2017 after a network fault means some of its customers were not able to reach emergency services. This is really serious stuff when these kinds of things happen. There should always be some kind of emergency in place when something like this happens. There needs to be just something there to save people in a desperate need, guys. Really do. Look up QA Library says look up silence or missed dials. 99112 calls when in ad tower overlook of mobiles where I live can go off line due to towers being overloaded, especially if they're events. B, thanks for that QA Library. BT will probably get a fine and a slap on the wrist and everybody moves on with their corporate ways, he says. Yeah, that's probably the way it's going to be. I suppose the Tories will blame this on Labour too. Well, I don't think they're going to be saying anything about it, if I'm honest. I don't think you can blame either party on well, yeah, you can. You might be able to blame Conservatives, but I don't think it's worth it, you guys. Guys, I'm going to have to just... As much as I want to cover the last article, guys, my stomach is absolutely been killing me all through this live stream. So I'm going to play the funny video, one last funny video, and then see myself out, guys. I wanted to go a bit longer, but my stomach is absolutely killing me, and I can't do anything about it. I can't be sitting in this chair. It's making me really uncomfortable. So I'll probably it'll probably shake off tomorrow, but I have not much to do tomorrow, to be fair. But yeah, I just want to say thanks, guys, for coming along. I really do appreciate it. But I hope you guys enjoy this funny video before we head out. Apparently, context is dead.
Welcome to Broken News. Tributes have been paid to Context, which has passed away at the age of 70,000. For years, people relied on Context when discussing controversial issues, but will no longer be able to because it's dead. Our reporter has more.
In recent years, Context had been under attack from all sides. Tabloid newspapers, social justice warriors, and your mate from high school who believes Disney created the movie Frozen to change Google's search algorithm so that when people looked up Disney Frozen, they'd get stuff about the movie and not about Walt Disney himself being cryogenically frozen. Some tried to defend Context by thinking about complex issues for at least 30 seconds before saying anything. But they were drowned out by a tidal wave of loud, thick idiots who desperately wanted people to pay attention to them. In a statement released earlier, a group known as the Context Usage National Termination Society said, "Yeah, it's a bummer for some people, but we're glad Context is dead. We are no longer slaves to Context, and now we can have really ill-informed, simplistic views on incredibly complicated issues like Israel-Palestine, Brexit and trans rights. RIP Context." Well, Broken News has learned that since that statement was made, the group has been cancelled for using the words bummer and slaves. Back to you.
Well, we would like to say sorry for the strong language heard towards the end of that report, particularly the use of the words bummer and slaves. Broken News would like to apologise unreservedly, and we assure viewers that our reporter's contract has been terminated with immediate effect. What a lovely story. That's all from Broken News. You're up to date.
Well, Broken News would like to apologise unreservedly for our presenter using the words bummer and slaves in that bulletin. And Broken News would like to assure viewers that their contract has been terminated with immediate effect.
And that's the end of Larry and Paul as we know it, guys. Make sure you check out their YouTube channel, Larry and Paul. Video link is in the description under funny videos, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. What did you guys think? Did you guys enjoy it? Pingu says you're faking the stomach bug. No, I am not. Shut up. How dare you make such accusations? Stupid bird. So guys, I will be back tomorrow at 7 with the Snowflakes Corner. It will be an American special. I will be doing a American special live stream. The Snowflake Corner will be an American special, looking at the runners and riders about Kamala Harris, obviously, of President Biden stepping down. We'll be looking at some reaction and whatnot to that. So do join me tomorrow at 7 o'clock for an American special of the Snowflake's Corner, guys. And then on Wednesday, Prime Minister's Questions, 12 p.m. Come join me here on the channel for that. That will obviously be very good. And then, of course, we have the Snowflake Watch in the evening as well. And then Thursday night, I will be joined by number 3 for a chat, with a nice chat with him. We talk about politics and whatnot on there. So feel free to come and join us for that as well. And then Friday will be as well as news round, and then Saturday there'll be Regan's news round if I get time for that as well. For you guys. So I want to say thank you guys for all coming along. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for your feedback as always. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm not feeling 100%, but it's only been like the last hour or so after dinner that I've started feeling like this. So probably wake up the next morning, I'll probably be fine, guys. So honestly, it's just one of those things. But before I head out, guys, if you can do one more favor for me. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share this across social media so others are notified of this live stream. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.